Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Peppermint Matty here for another installment of Unsolved Mysteries. Rod could not be here today. No, this isn't another solo show, though. I do have two guests with me, two repeat guests now. Tommy, his third time coming on. We appreciate his comedic value. He's kind of funny. He knows what he's talking about from time to time. And then we got our good pal Seth joining us again. Figured we might have some Spectral conversation. And who better to have on than our good pal Seth? So let me bring you guys on. By the way, Rod not here to give his little social experiment spiel like he did last time, Seth. I think he spent the better part of half an hour talking about how we should just let inmates have some sort of gladiatorial style arena to get a lesser sentence or whatever his, or like cigarettes at the commissary and shit like that. Like they're gonna be fighting to the death for a pack of cigs, like a pack of Camels, and just feel good about it, I guess. But I imagine there will be another rant at some point when we get him on. And it was like I was debating renaming the episode just because we diverted to that conversation so many times. But unfortunately, he could not be here with us today. Glad I could have you guys on. I did probably the most dirtbag thing I could do today. So I'm here in New York. This is not my room. I was like, man, our whole shtick is making sure we get beers for the show. Got the As Always Cheers shirt on. And I was like, man, I have no idea where I'm going to find this. There's not really a gas station next to the hotel or anything. So I find this Walgreens. Drive like 10 minutes. It's a mile away, and it takes me 10, 15 minutes to get there because that's New York for you. And my options are limited. It's like I fly back to Columbus tomorrow. I'm not picking up a 12-pack of anything. So what do? I just brown bag a couple Modelo's and call it a day. Are we rocking the Michelob Ultras today there? Seth, what's on?
I'm actually going with some bourbon today, since it's a little bit of a later show. I didn't want to fill my belly full of beer, so I figured start my nightcap off early.
Yeah, classing this place up. I like
That's
it.
That's
right. Yeah, the latte is usually in full effect. I've had the occasional whiskey. I had some wild turkey when Mr. DJ Sweat came on. Tom, I was hoping to get him on so you guys could have your first experience on the show together. He had some prior obligations, wasn't able to get him scheduled for today.
So he was scared, you're saying? I understand.
I imagine that's actually what happened. So these two have this ongoing competition between the two of them for the longest episode. Tommy knocked it out of the park. We posted up like a 2-hour episode initially. Hour and a half episode, something like that. And then we came through with Rick and just completely destroyed it. We had his nephew on, and I mean, we were pushing a 3-hour episode. The damage to my bladder, because I was trying as hard as I possibly could to sit through the entire thing without taking a piss, which not very easy when you're sucking down a few brews within an hour time frame. Yeah, within an hour time frame. But we got through it. It was a good episode. The marathon episode is your time to shine, bud.
You're gonna have a bucket for the marathon episode.
So we're planning a rotation schedule. 2 hours we're on together. 2 hours it's just me with guests. 2 hours it's just Rod with guests, and then we just kind of repeat that throughout the day. We've got plenty of clips here and there too, so any 5-10 minute little clips we can fill in to take little piss breaks or let the dogs out, whatever the case may be. We're going to make sure that happens as well. So Seth, we have you slated for the marathon episode as well currently.
Not sure why you want to do that to everybody, but okay.
Things are gonna shift around, I imagine, because the intention is to have a guest every hour, a new guest every hour, or in Tommy's case, he might just be on for the full 24. I don't know what he intends to do. But we got to fill the midnight to 10 a.m. roles. I think are going to be pretty difficult to fill in. And then on the back end of it, we should be crystal clear, ideally. So we'll see. Tommy, I had to break the news to you that Jenny was in fact coming on, despite your best efforts with us growing up, telling us that we shouldn't talk to her.
What the hell are you doing talking to her? This is ridiculous.
So for the listeners who don't know, Jenny is the older sister of Tommy. So there's a bit of sibling rivalry going on. Now, we haven't even had her on the show once yet. This is your third time now. So
she told me she was afraid that I would be on and just heckle the shit out of her, which is absolutely true. Yeah, they would. Yeah. No mercy. There would be no mercy. You know, I think last time I was on, it was the whole tickling buttholes thing, which I still haven't seen that T-shirt yet. So let's see you make that happen.
It's in the works. We'll make it some alien anal probing kind of T-shirt. I'm sure we can work that in.
That was fun, and my mom and dad asking, "Hey, how'd the podcast go?" I was like, "Oh, it was great." You know, Jenny happened to bring up that I tickle buttholes. So having to explain that whole thing, I was like, "You ask her." But,
yeah. No, and I'm excited. Hopefully, we can get that dynamic in stereo at the same time at some point. We can line that up. And just my work would be done. I'll just let you guys argue with each other for an hour on the show, and we'll just call that entertainment and have people chime in every hour. But we are trying to raise money for 3 different charities is the intention: the American Cancer Society, Mission 22, and Make-A-Wish. So we'll be rolling out more information about each one of those as we go along. 2 of them pretty familiar: Make-A-Wish and American Cancer Society. But Mission 22, pretty unfamiliar, I think, for most people. And it deals a lot with veterans who may have experienced brain damage in the line of duty. So we're trying to work something out with them as well. And we'll be doing all this through Tiltify. So we're able to actually put that information up on the live stream as we're doing the live stream. So people can go to that certain link, or, you know, we can get live feed information on who's donating and where we're at with everything like that. So it'll be pretty cool. I'm stoked. We talk about it pretty much every episode at this point. We've got just about a month and a half or so coming up until we hit that 2 months, you know, before we hit that July 10th date. And then we're going to get rolling right into it. I'm taking some Hail Mary shots to get someone big on the show. We'll see. So far, nothing coming into fruition, but we got our manager putting out some feelers, seeing who he can get on the show. I won't name names just because if they aren't able to come on, it'll be a big letdown, and then we'll have to fire him, and then it'll be this whole big thing. So I don't want to have to put DJ Sweat in that position to have to can him.
I totally do. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, we'll be posting on Indeed for a new podcast management position, of which I believe Tommy will be immediately applying for, if I had to guess.
I don't have any star power, but our entertainment value is high.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So last episode we had you on, Tom. I wanted to pull up this video because we had a little opportunity to give Rod some shit, a potential poser, if you will, in this little scenario. So let me get my clip up here. Tommy's become a part of our intro video, which is very hit or miss on if we're going to play it. So you just never fucking know if we're going to end up playing it or not. So we called that fact out, and we kind of put Rod on the spot to talk about it. So let's pull that up here. So, Tommy, you've actually been an integral part of our intro video, but sadly your time at the end where we all cheers is overshadowed by the fact that Rod has 4 beers in his hand. So unfortunately, some of your stardom has been taken away from you by this man here, and that's simply because he's a booze bag, and there's really nothing we can do about it.
You can't hide the talent, you know.
I heard you didn't drink those all in one night. It was over a period of time.
He saved the cans to look cooler,
right?
Is that true, Rod? The allegations have come out that you are, in fact, not a booze bag. Good. However, you are a poser because you take empty cans that you previously had and put them on the show.
Listen, I got a picture of a few towers that me and old Matty Eyes have made in the old apartment that confirms my validity.
So we did have a high top island, like seating area on our island at the old apartment, and we would create towers, not just the two of us. However, I do want to point that out. There was help from both significant others at times, primarily you and I. However, there have been other contributions made to said towers, but they would in fact touch the ceiling by the time we were done.
Absolutely.
So to the point where we'd have to crush one to make it fit into the top part of the tower. So we did have an opportunity to call him out. Seth, you and I can in fact confirm now of his validity. During the bachelor party, this man, Rod, my co-host, falls asleep on the couch with a beer in his hand. Okay. And I go to grab it and he immediately wakes up. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm just getting this. I'm going to set it down on the table. Oh, that's my sleeping beer. So he takes a sip, falls back asleep. 5 minutes later, Zach comes by, states the same obvious point. Hey, somebody want to take that beer out of his hand before he spills it? Right on cue, just fucking doesn't even look up, tips it to the side of his mouth, takes a drink, and there you go. He's a living legend. I mean, honestly, that's why
that was one of the more impressive things I've ever seen.
I feel bad attacking him that last episode now.
I mean, everybody talks about the shower beer, the mowing the lawn beer, but he's the first I've ever heard talk about the sleeping beer. So, hey, props to him. He created his own little thing there.
That's how you get the rod bod. That's it.
Yeah,
that's right.
So we've got tickling butthole shirts and sleeping beer shirts coming soon to the people. I was just in awe of him for an entire weekend. I don't think his eyes were open. The amount of vitamins that he had in his system was an all-time high, and the amount of shit he talked throughout the entire weekend as well. Eyes closed, playing shuffleboard. Don't know how he hits a 3 on it, and then he just goes, "You fucking suck, dude. You're the worst person ever." And I'm like, I don't even I don't even know he knows it's me on the other side of the table right now.
That was the same thing happened when we were playing ping pong. He would swing and miss, and you guys kept hitting to him. He'd look at me. What the hell are you doing?
Seth, you're trash.
I'm just here, buddy. I'm just here,
Get
buddy.
out of here. You're trash. Which makes me incredibly excited to pair a good portion of that group with some of my family and friends for the bachelor party that it's going to be months from now. But Tommy, you're an absolute wild man. I have no idea what you're anticipating to happen at this bachelor party. Seth, I think you're gonna bring us all down to earth or float us all above it, one or the other. Pop Steele gonna be there without a doubt, for sure gonna be there. Another thing I'd like to point out, probably the most miserable day of my life was when the two stooges, Zach and Derek, met my mother, because they love mom jokes, right?
Brave man.
So yeah. So we're all at Rod's wedding, and sure enough, here they are. They get this big shit-eating grin on their face. Is this Mama Steele? Oh, it's so nice to meet you. It's so nice to meet you. Like, you guys can fuck right off. Get out of here. I don't want you guys here anymore.
You should have heard some of the jokes they were saying after they were drinking some of those margaritas.
Don't you dare.
I had to stick up for Mama Steele.
My mother listens to this show. She already commented in for what a saint. You guys. Yeah. So today's premise is going to be all about unsolved mysteries. Rod and I had a blast doing this the first time around, simply because the theories and speculations that we created with each of these unsolved mysteries was a little above and beyond, in probably most people's opinion as to what really took place. So I asked you guys to come up with a few. I've got some myself. Let me pull up my notes. I don't want to fuck this up. There's some good ones in here. But by the way, first of all, I go to look up unsolved mysteries, and one of the first things that pops up for me is 10 unsolved mysteries in Arkansas. And I don't know what's taking place in Arkansas. What's sort of apparently it's its own realm down there in Arkansas. I don't know if I didn't get too deep. I didn't look into it. I don't know if there's spectral mysteries or historical mysteries or whatever, but there's a lot going on.
Clinton conspiracies. You heard it here first, and if I disappear, it's because Hillary and Bill are listening.
Well, I think a lot of the conspiracies actually revolve around sharing DNA with family members and things like that, and that's probably where a lot of the conspiracies come from, because there might be some weird looking people down in Arkansas because of that. I don't know. I don't know what the listenership in Arkansas is for us. Hopefully it's at 0, because we can continue to just rip on them if that is the case. If not, I don't know. Maybe they got a third ear anyways. They got some weird mutations going on.
I heard they just have red hair. It's just what I heard.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tommy. I'm glad you can be on for a third time for the show.
Third and last.
Yeah. So yeah, you thought you were gonna beat old DJ Sweat's time, huh? Did you? Yeah. Marathon episode. Yeah, you're out.
Darn.
So the first one that I found this one kind of interesting because there's just so much that's open to interpretation. So the Mary Celeste, people claim that it was a ghost ship, basically. So there's a ship going along. This is back in the late 1870s. And so there's a ship going along. They see another ship out in the ocean, and it's just kind of moving erratically. So they go on board, they go to check it out, and there's no crew, no captain. Like, his family members were supposed to be on that boat as well. There's supposed to be 10 people on this boat. And the life raft is missing, but all of their belongings are still there. It looks like they were untouched. It looks like they were practically folded up, and then they ended up leaving. So they board the ship. Now, some of the sails might be in shambles a little bit, and it's said to have had about 3.5 feet of water, which they said it was kind of alarming. I watched multiple videos on this, and I hate listening to historians talk because they're so like matter of fact, like, well, a ship of that size, it would be a cause for concern, but you shouldn't panic and all this. Like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 feet of water inside the boat seems kind of like a big fucking deal if you ask me. But I don't know. So some of the theories were that there was pirates that just like ransacked the ship. Why they would leave the ship, I don't know. But at the end of the story, it talks that the people who found the ship, so DeVoe and his crew, they're like, oh, we'll take this thing back to shore because like salvagers can get money for ships like that. And I'm like, whoa. I feel like we're skipping over that part a little bit, because if this is me and I'm acting like some innocent dude floating around, next thing I know, I see the ship, like, I don't know, maybe the captain's hammered or some shit. Oh, this is easy pickings. I'm going to fucking pirate this thing, make it look like, oh, I don't know, the family just disappeared. Life raft is gone. Sink that thing to the bottom of the fucking ocean. Oh, it's weird. They left all their stuff. I don't know what that's all about. I'm going to go ahead and kill all of them. Send that lifeboat to the bottom of the ocean and go ahead, take this thing in and cash it in, which they only ended up getting like 20% of what the boat was actually worth. And it went through like 3 different juries to see if there was foul play in order and all that shit. I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to be able to tell that? Like, honestly. Is there blood? Like, were they looking for blood? It's the 1870s. It's not like they got black lights or shit that they can look on the boat.
How many passengers were on this boat?
There were supposed to be 10. But they found nobody on the boat. And that was the captain, his crew, and then family members.
I don't buy the whole pirate thing because that doesn't make sense. I mean, like, they've, pirates, at least from what I know from movies in Hollywood and all that kind of shit, whatever. But they're sailing the seas and stuff. They're going to take any sort of food, belongings, anything they can find, get their hands on, because who knows when they're going to either find a ship next or hit land next or whatever. So I don't buy that pirate reasoning.
Well, here's the other thing too is so they were also transporting like alcohol as well, and it seemed as though none of the alcohol was touched.
Yeah,
pirates, that thing's fucking gone.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
They're drunk, left on there. There's a rod out there somewhere, falling asleep on their makeshift couch, drinking some of that alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, what other theories are we looking at here? Is it sea monster? Are we talking sea monster? Ravages the whole top of the ship and tears up the sail a bit. Gone.
I love a good Kraken theory.
Maybe it was a practical joke. Maybe they're like, yeah, let's see how these guys react, and then they ended up just dying.
Maybe they were in trouble with the whatever mafia or gang or mob or whatever, so they faked their own death. Or lifeboat's missing. Lifeboat's missing. I mean, why? You know what I mean?
That's a good.
What's 20% of that boat back then? Did they get like $5 or something?
So I think it was like
a nickel and a
$29,000 was what the total of the boat was. Back then was, that's probably millions.
Yeah.
And so whatever, like 20% of that would be. Yeah. I mean, still. Let's be real. I'd be like, you know what? Keep the fucking boat. Just give me all the alcohol that's in this thing, and we'll call it even.
Exactly.
We'll call it a wash. Now, the other thing, pirate theory, you're probably. I mean, they got to have cannons blasting the side of this thing too, right? Now, there was water in it, but 3.5. It'd be more than 3.5 feet, and you'd see a big gaping hole, the kind that Tommy used to tickle back in his day.
Even bigger. Picture that, but bigger.
Yeah. Probably see something like that. Now, where the water came from, I'd also be curious to know. Like, now they said big. Well, okay, you fucking stooge. Yeah. They were saying, wooden boats of that size, yeah, they may take on some water. 3.5 feet was more than what it would normally take on. But I'd wonder, like, is there just a board loose? Like, did they whack it with the lifeboat on the way down or something?
And at that point, they're all made of wood. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like they don't have the sealant or the polyurethane or whatever the hell whatever, would seal it with back then. I'm sure there's leaks and all sorts of crap, especially if it's only a 10-passenger boat. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I think that was one that really. I mean, maybe is this the first aliens? Like, are we talking first alien encounters? Just up and disappear?
The aliens were here well before the 1870s.
Yeah.
First documented alien encounter. So, Tommy, were the Clinton conspiracies part of your unsolved mysteries? I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't want to. You're just going to be talking. There's going to be like a laser, like right on your chest all of a sudden.
No, they are not part of my conspiracies. It just, when you brought up Arkansas, it clicked because I was telling you earlier that we had customers up, and that's like all they talked about was all these Arkansas Clinton conspiracies of like people ending up dead that saw them involved in stuff, which I'm sure it's true. I don't know.
Do you? So, I mean, that could be a broad spectrum unsolved mystery. Do you think there's some sort of like Illuminati? Like, is there a higher group? Oh, we lost Seth. Is there like a higher group or something that is controlling all this?
I don't know. I think it's hard to say. It's probably, I'm sure there's some people out there who know a ton of information that they're part of a group that knows all that stuff, but I don't know. There's too many conspiracies. You look at like what's the latest with part of that group? It would be like the Jeffrey Epstein, like that part of it of like, all right, well, he ended up dead, and the cameras decided not to work that night, and he hung himself.
And the guard that was supposed to be on duty watching him on suicide watch wasn't there, or went to the bathroom or whatever they did. Yeah, that's
right. Stuff like that. It's like I feel like there's part of that where it would be awesome to know like the truth. You guys kind of talked about that the last time with the JFK stuff. It's like just to know it. But then would anyone believe you if you knew the truth? It'd be like, oh yeah, you're just some crazy guy, or like I think you guys had maybe brought up like 9/11 or something involved with 9/11. But it's like if you knew the truth and like if you told me, I'd probably be like, all right, I don't believe you. You're dumb. Don't talk to me. But then you'd be like, no, it's the truth, and maybe I'd believe you.
And that's the thing is like, what if there is somebody out there that does have the real information? We're like, this guy wears tinfoil hats and does all this bullshit, but he's telling the truth, and everybody's like, fuck off.
It's a guy down in Times Square that claims he's Jesus, and he really is Jesus. So everyone's like, well, fuck off. You're not getting my dollar.
Yeah. By the way, aggressive homeless population around here. I was at a stoplight today. I watched a man pretend like he was at a ball game, had a couple waters. He's trying to sell waters to the people who are waiting for the light to turn green. And then he was literally just walking up to windows going, help me out, man. Help me out. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I'm next. Light turned green. I was like, here we go, baby.
You've never had a homeless water? They're delicious. Unfiltered.
Brewed it in this bathtub, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. God only knows what that probably had in it. You get the little, how it's attached on the end, and it just pops right open. You're like, I don't know. There's something in here. There has been.
The seal's already been cracked.
Yeah. You've seen your share of homeless in your travels. Which homeless do you prefer? San Francisco or New York?
San Diego.
Or socks?
San Diego, because they don't bother you. But San Francisco, yeah. You want to talk about a wild town. Seth, I don't know if you've heard this story be told yet. I was in San Francisco for work. We're driving back from the job, and on the sidewalk is this man wearing nothing but shoes and one sock. And I'll give you just one guess where that sock was.
Wait, what? That's all he was wearing is two pairs of shoes. Okay, so the sock wasn't on his foot. The sock was covering that. Okay. At least he did you that decency.
I guess so, but I don't even think that guy was homeless. So that's the thing. Like,
your fashion style in California.
Yeah. I wonder if he just came from like some like underground poker table, lost it all, lost that like the literal shirt off his back, and they're like, "Come on, man, throw me a bone." They're like, "All right, I'm in downtown. I live out by the wharf." And they're like, "All right, here's your fucking shoes and here's the sock. You walk home, bud." Mm-hmm. Maybe.
It's like that movie, A Knight's Tale, right? With when they're riding their horse. Jeffrey Chaucer is naked, just walking. A gambling problem. Yeah, that's the guy you ran into.
That should be part of your. You guys, I don't know if you guys are both part of the same, but like fantasy football, that should be the new thing. You have to walk down the block with on
the wheel of torture. Oh boy,
sock of shame.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Rod's punishment is yet to be done. Because his punishment is we get to dress him up in whatever we want to dress him up in, and he's got to walk like half a mile down the whatever street we decide to put him on.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's a tube sock. Be nice.
There it is.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tape it on because it ain't gonna hold it up.
I was gonna say
I didn't want to be mean.
No show socks are enough coverage for him.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think, well, Mike and Gail just had a baby. Maybe we could borrow one of them socks and cover it up.
Still have to tape it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, dude, it's the middle of summer. Don't even give me that. It's cold out here bullshit. Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get off track of
but I'm glad you bring that up because speaking of the fantasy football, we have a punishment wheel. Everybody picks one punishment to put on the wheel, and then you spin it, and then
there it is.
Your fate is in the hands of that poorly crafted wheel that Derek put together.
Oh yeah,
all by himself. I'm sure he probably had somebody help him, if I had to guess, honestly.
The San Fran homeless walk is going to be added on there.
yeah. Everybody will know what it means.
Oh yeah, we get it. We know.
But Tom, what did you have? What did you find for one of your unsolved mysteries?
The two that popped up right away because I dug around. I kind of thought of what big, like maybe a murder or something that happened, and it's like with O.J. Simpson, but we all kind of know what happened. So, so that one wasn't good. And then
if it don't fit, it quit.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And then I found like the DB Cooper, which is always that one's always kind of been interesting as they talk about it. And then I think it was like Malaysia, is it flight 390, 380? I forget. One of the two.
Yeah.
370.
So we were talking about before the show started. They said the reason they couldn't find the wreckage is because it went straight
vertically
into the water. Like it's some synchronized diver on the fucking like an Olympic tour.
Captain Phillips or whatever the heck his name is Tom Hanks can land the plane on the Hudson River. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Then why is this plane going nose dive into the ocean?
Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise had to play that role because it's either Maverick or Tom Hanks fucking landing that plane.
Yeah. That's Sully.
Yeah. I don't understand that one. Like, in what situation is the plane going straight down? Like, was this like a botched attempt to blow something up then? Is that what we're thinking? Like,
so the destination was China, correct? From that flight, Malaysia to China. Does that sound right?
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do we know where in China it was headed? Was it headed to like a populated, like Beijing, or was it?
Yeah, it was Beijing.
I mean, I guess you could kind of consider it the terrorist plot. They try to hijack the plane. The passengers fought back, and that's why it crashed, or that's why it took a nosedive. I don't know.
Maybe it didn't crash at all. Maybe they landed it over in Afghanistan or something, or wherever they would have, the terrorist group, and then they're plotting to use it soon here to blow something up. They're just waiting for you to forget about it and be like, all right, well, now you remember, and then here's all the hostages. They're dead.
And then they just like, and that conspiracy, like that theory in general is just such bullshit to me because you've seen a lot of plane wreckages and things like that. And, there's all sorts of videos and everything. I just don't know a situation where, is the pilot dead already? Like to where he's not even trying to pull up on the stick or what? To where this thing ends up straight up and down.
I've seen enough movies to know that if I'm a passenger and I have sticks, I'm gonna pull up. Like, you know what I mean? So it's to go nosedive into the ocean.
I don't know any pilots that I can draw knowledge from, but it just seems implausible.
My father-in-law is a pilot for our company, and I believe I had a conversation with him when this had happened, and it's like they go through this training. So like he goes to training, I think twice a year, and they do flight simulation as far as like all those types of situations on what to do. It's like they have to be current on all. Like that's probably a small part of it, but the other part is like, all right, something happened, the engine went out or whatever, and he's always, I forget what site he looks at, but anytime there's a crash with a plane, like he's instantly on this site, like looking at, black box information and whatnot. But I think for that one, he just, it was kind of one of those things where he couldn't explain because even those pilots would be experienced enough to know in that situation, either trying to land it and I can't remember because it's not like that one. Do you remember that one in like France that crashed at night? Like all their, I want to say like all their mechanical stuff, like it froze up on them, and then it was dark, so they couldn't see the water or whatnot. And then they didn't rely on their like training. They panicked, and then that panic ended up they descended too fast, and they just ended up in the water, and everyone died. But I forget what flight that was. But it's that kind of stuff. But it's like, I think this was during the day, so it wouldn't have been anything that would be out of the ordinary for them to be like, okay, well, I could tell that's the ocean there as we're, flying above it.
Are we experiencing a new Bermuda Triangle situation where planes just disappear over this area?
It's Lost all over again. Did you ever watch Lost?
Oh, I started to.
It gets bad after like the first 2 seasons.
Is there a show that you're watching now? I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but is there? I've been so back and forth with a bunch of different shows. I haven't locked onto one. I just started watching Jack Ryan, and I'm pretty invested into that. Yeah, and simply because I dog Rod so many times for not watching shows that we try to talk about.
He's awful. Like every time you guys talk about it, I was like, what does that kid do with his free time?
He's like, I don't fucking watch that. Yeah, I don't know why, I put New Girl on in the background. I'm like, yeah, I like New Girl too, don't get me wrong. Like it's a classic. I'll put it on as background noise, but I'm not spending my time to focus on it. Like, watch something new, you dickhead. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Jack Ryan's been my go-to, and I think because I think the Tom Clancy universe is going to become a thing because they just did that movie with Michael B. Jordan as well. So I'm thinking there's going to be some crossover at some point there. That seems to be the formula for success with a lot of these shows now. But and the other one, Peaky Blinders, I've taken a little break from it, but I'm working my way back to it. It's a fantastic show. I got to watch like back from season 2. I'm like a couple episodes into season 3, but I've kind of lost track of what the fuck was happening. So I need to go back. There's somebody, it's one of those double cross, triple cross kind of shows too. So you have to really zoom in on it to understand what's going on. But
is season 3 the one where they bring in why can't I think of his name? Bane for Batman? And he's like the
Tom Hardy.
Jewish mafia. Yeah, Tom Hardy. And he's like the Jewish mafia leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like, the last season I watched. I think I need to get back to that show.
It's towards the end of season 2, beginning of season 3. Yeah. But is there a particular? Did you guys watch Invincible on Amazon?
What's that
Spend the time. It's a cartoon.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that one.
J.K. Simmons voices the dad. Glenn from Walking Dead voices the kid. And it's about this superhero. Like, he comes from a different planet. He comes to Earth. He's supposed to be like the protector of Earth. He ends up marrying this woman. They have a kid and everything. And the kid is just discovering his superpower. So it's all about like his identity and his kind of path to becoming a superhero and everything. So that's most of what it encompasses. But the dad ends up not being like who he seems to be or who they portray him as initially. And so there's like a whole storyline that takes place with that. And there's a bunch of other bad guys that they face. And it's not just those two as superheroes. Like there's teams that are like Justice League-esque that are in it as well. And then there's a lot of conflict with them as well. So it's very gory. I would highly recommend it. It's not what I expected at all. If either of you watch The Boys on Amazon Prime, it's very much like a cartoon version of that. You guys would enjoy it if you enjoyed The Boys.
I thought The Boys was interesting. I don't know how I feel about it because I like that they kind of took the darker side because, I mean, let's be honest, if people in real life had superpowers, I think the majority would use them for evil.
Yes.
But it was interesting to see that to see that whole dynamic and what I think will actually happen if humans have superpowers. But I don't know, I'm in between. I'm torn on that one, but I need to watch season 2.
Yeah, you do, because they're starting to unfold this, like there's like a lot of undertones taking place, like storylines that are lining up that you didn't know about at all. Even all the way through season 2, like the last episode, you're like, oh well, shit, what the fuck? Like, how is this taking place? Why is this happening? And then they drop this bomb at the end of season 2, and then that's it. It's like a massive cliffhanger. Like, all right, see you season 3. Like, we got you fuckers hooked now. It's a little over the top in some spots. Like when the Deep gets his gills diddled by that girl, that was not really my favorite scene to sit through, but we got through it. I think that's why I'm so hesitant to rewatch season 1. Is like, for that scene specifically, is like, I don't know.
He had it coming.
He did. I mean, he really did, but he certainly deserving of what he got, but still hard to watch, hard to get through. All right, Seth, I've taken away your time too much. Do you have, what's your number one? What's your number one unsolved mystery?
All right, so this happened in Russia. Okay, so that immediately caught my eye because Russia's fucked up. We all know that. Whatever. Sorry. No, it's these 9 college students, ages like 20 to 24, roughly, and they were going on this backpack hiking trip, skiing in the mountains and all Ural mountains, all that kind of stuff. They're all experienced and whatnot, and they went with this experienced guide as well, someone who'd been doing it for years. So they took their cameras and videos and all this kind of stuff. And last night they decided to camp under this kind of like little ledge or whatever in the snow and all that. So they all shared this one tent. Well, weeks go by and park rangers call it in and say, hey, these hikers never came back from their trip. So an investigation starts. They hire this team. They helicopter into their
helicopter
into their last known location. Now they find the tent, and what they find is the tent is ripped, but it's ripped from the inside. There are footprints, but they're only leading away from the tent. There are no footprints coming into the tent, no animal prints, nothing like that. What was weird was all of their gear was left in the tent. Their cameras, their cameras, their video equipment, whatever it was, food, clothes. Some of the footprints were barefoot. Some of them were shoeless with socks. Some of them had one shoe on. So they follow the footprints or whatever, and they come to this tree line of the forest, and that's where they find the first 2 bodies. And they concluded that they died of hypothermia. But months went by before they found the other bodies. And what they found was extremely weird. They couldn't figure out if it was related to cold, what it was related to, because they all died of different things. One had 3rd-degree burns. One was missing their tongue. 3 of them had blunt force trauma, and one of which the coroner said seemed like he had been hit by a big vehicle or something like that. So, these 9 individuals, 9 separate individuals, all leave the tent from the inside. There are no other footprints coming to, and they end on this forest line. And it's just, what the hell happened? What caused all these experienced backpacking hikers, skiers to all go missing? And then what caused them to all die of different causes? I started to read this one, and you did it justice, by the way. Like the story that I read was basically like line for line what you were expressing. And I didn't choose this one because I was starting to pick my 3 mysteries at nighttime, and I didn't want to continue to read the story. And I was like, not a fucking chance. Like, I think I'm done with this. Hopefully somebody else picks this one. But yeah, it's so wild. And here's the thing is, all their equipment was left. It's like
something wild must have happened. Like, are we talking like werewolf situation?
See, that's like, what caused those 9 people to up and leave? And they found, like I said, they found their cameras. They went through the footage. They went through the pictures, and they were all smiling and happy. And it was a group that had known each other for a long time. So it's not like there was like a rivalry or a big fight or a brawl that broke out amongst, enemies or people talking shit or whatever. But
and why did they leave in such a hurry that they tore the tent instead of just opening it? Like, I don't know. One of them turned into a monster. I don't know what kind of monster, but one of them had to. Well, it had to have been like a human-footed monster, though.
For the tracks to blend in, yeah.
Or unless the shoes, unless it was one with shoes, like somehow the shoes didn't rip off or something.
All the tracks were leading away from the tent. There were no tracks coming into the tent. None. And so they all went out and then just kept walking.
And I wonder too if they could have identified like if they were running or not. You know what I mean? Like based on the tracks, that would be something. So that would be something to know.
Yeah. So there's a couple different. Okay.
Yeah. It is like it. I don't know if I like.
I don't know. There's a couple different theories. There's like in that area, there's like this like kind of like a wild tribe or whatever, but they've been known to be docile. They haven't ever harmed anybody that's hiked or skied through that area. Obviously, like KGB stuff was thrown into it. Were 1 or 2 of them spies? Did that play into it? Were they mistaken? Because at that time, whenever this occurred, Siberia was still like used for quote unquote gulags or concentration camps or whatever, work camps, whatever you want to call it. So they were like, were they mistaken for escapees? What could have happened? And then the one that I found that I think made the most sense was called like the Theory of Infrasound. And what it is like wind gusts, when they go over like desert sand, like in barren areas, it can cause this low hum, this low rumble. And at that tone or whatever, it has been shown to cause like vertigo, nausea, dizziness, things like that. So that's the one speculative theory that actually makes sense, was that it was just super windy and it caused this infrasound to drive them all nuts and forget everything they know and leave. It's fucking wild, man.
Well, it's aliens. We know it's aliens.
It's aliens. Yeah.
Could imagine if you were just like sitting there and then this wind came along, you're like, whoa, who the fuck am I? What is going on? Like, just start killing people. Like, all right, I'm gonna start punching the shit out of you because I don't know who you are. That's insane. No, now I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna be Googling this all night.
Yeah, you should. It's called the Dyatlov Pass. That's what it's called. So yeah, look it up when you get a chance and read into it. It's a pretty crazy story.
I'm looking it up now.
So I know I can see
I'll see you guys later.
reading off screen. Yeah. That's a wild one. I like. So there was one that I saw too. There was one that I saw too. I didn't look too far into that. There was people that had claimed to have heard this sound that like caused them to like freeze, like become statuesque. And this was like a phenomenon that hit, and I want to say it was somewhere in Europe, that people would literally like hear this sound and then just like freeze like a statue for minutes at a time. And the science behind it, and I'm like, that sounds fucking hokey. Like some sound hit your brain just right and made you do that. I don't know, like just the way you register that sound, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I guess kind of makes sense because, like, if you think like dogs and dog whistles, like how they register that high pitched sound, and it can drive them kind of a little bit crazy if it's consistent and high pitched enough. I don't know.
I guess that's the beauty of theories, is you could just go, I don't fucking know at the end of it, and then you're like, I get my 2 cents, but I don't know. Like I'm no. I wasn't there.
You guys want to go hiking in Russia with me?
Yeah. I don't want to do anything in Russia. He'll come back with like an extra hand or something because of how radioactive the entirety of Russia probably is.
That's a good show. Not to go
Chernobyl.
On HBO, it is amazing.
I haven't watched it yet.
So good.
It starts off really slow. I got like 10 minutes into the first episode, and I was kind of doing stuff. I was like, all right, I need to sit down and actually see what the storyline is because it seems as though they're building it up. I was like, I can't just have this on in the background. I need to spend the time to do it.
The explanation of it at the end where they actually explain the science behind what happened. You're just like, holy shit, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. Like how some people were still alive too. It's just like, their children probably have like 3 arms or 7 legs or something.
7 legs?
Maybe.
Do you think a 7-legged person could beat Usain Bolt in a race?
No.
You don't think so? Do you think there's somebody faster than Usain Bolt out there?
Oh, for sure.
Ooh. It's not DK Metcalf. We know that now.
No. He'll put up a fight, though.
That was such an unnecessary shot at DK Metcalf. I don't know why that like popped into my head, but
it's like, the guy who's dominant on the football field, though, he sucks at track and field.
Yeah, what a loser.
Yeah.
But he'll also track down Buda Baker from like a 40-yard deficit.
Yeah. Maybe they should have Buda Baker start that race.
like the rabbit or like the bone at a dog track.
Yeah.
Here comes Buddha.
Yeah. All right. So my second unsolved mystery is called the Flanin Isles Lighthouse. I don't know if either of you happen to catch this one. So in December of 1900, a boat called Hesperus set sail for the island of Eilean Moor, which is off the coast, the northwestern coast of Scotland. And so there's 3 lighthouse workers at this. It's just a brand new built lighthouse. And the reason the boat was going out there was to fill in a 4th light keeper. And so they were in rotation all the time. So this island, like the island to begin with, not just the lighthouse, but the island is mostly like herders, sheep, and just backcountry and all this stuff. But everybody, like, there's already speculation that this place has some sort of paranormal activity going on there. And like one of the superstitions or rituals that they would do is they would actually circle. There was this well-known church there. They would actually circle the church like on their knees. Like they would go all the way around the church on their knees as like a superstition because of the way this place was. So the ship gets to the lighthouse. All 3 lighthouse keepers, gone. 2 of them brought their jackets. 1 did not. The kitchen table was like full of like meats and everything. Like they just prepared a meal and everything, but they weren't there. The clock was stopped on the wall for some reason as well. There was a chair that was tipped over. The lamp that they had like the oil and everything in it, but it wasn't lit. And then the gate was shut behind them. Wherever they went, they must have shut the gate for when they left. So the other thing that they found really weird is one of the light keepers documented that there was real bad winds on like the 12th, 13th, and 14th. And they look back, documentation stated that there was no bad weather or anything in those 3-day stretch. And then it says, wait, let me find the names here. Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur. And then it said in Ducat's journal that he was super quiet and MacArthur was crying. And MacArthur was like this very well-known, like tough lighthouse keeper, like the stereotype of what like a very solitary job would be. I just imagine this dude like, shit. What's the What's the like fish sticks? The Captain, like the brand. Fuck, I'm not going to be able to think of it.
I just keep thinking of Captain Crunch when you say that.
No, I was thinking Captain Morgan. So you're not a booze bag like I am, but anyways, like I think of like the yellow coat, the yellow hat, the long beard,
Right.
and so like he had this high reputation for being this hard ass, and oh yeah, it's documented that he was crying and everything like that, and then it also documented that they were praying. It was like, all right, this is it. God's the guy now because of whatever weird shit's going on there. Literally, the last report in his book said, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all." Boom. They're gone. Nobody knows what happened to them. And that's the thing is, it must have been a small enough island for them to send out a search party, especially because it's like I said, primarily herders and sheep on that island. So the population can't be that high to begin with. And sure enough, never found these guys. 2 of the 3 coats were missing. 1 was left for whatever reason. They shut the gate behind them when they left. They knocked a chair over. The clock stopped, which the clock stopping is the weird one for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then they prepared a meal. Like, I don't know. It almost seems like there was some sort of scuffle for whatever reason. The third guy, the guy that didn't bring his coat, was, I don't know, gone, axed. The start of the Scottish mafia. They axed him, fed him to the sheep.
They're like, all right, this is it. This is it. We're done.
They sacrificed him maybe, and then couldn't deal with the guilt, just disappeared.
They're still in the lighthouse. Did anyone check the lighthouse?
Yeah, they're at the
I
very
would
top.
imagine that was the first. Yeah, it's like they're just like, oh, hey, fuck, he's in the basement. Like,
Yeah.
Weird. We didn't check the lighthouse.
I don't know. Yeah, the fact that they had dinner ready and the journal entries plus the weather not adding up to it, making it seem like there was just a storm just around the lighthouse and the clock stopped.
Ooh.
Aliens.
Let's just call it what it is. Yeah.
This is the most alien cause one I've heard tonight. This is for sure aliens.
So you saw Russian Mysteries. You might have saw the one where it was like there was some sort of impact that decimated like 80 million trees or something like that, but there was no crater.
No crater.
Yeah.
I did see that one.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I almost put that one in here, but I couldn't find enough on it to talk about it, and that was a huge. Like, I was like, okay, it's got to be fucking aliens. Like, their ship came down, the whatever sort of jet that they used decimated all these trees, but it didn't leave an impact or anything like that. And they're like, well, actually, what happened is, like, some sort of meteor burned up in our atmosphere, but the pressure that it sent down, I was like, get the fuck out of here. There's no way this meteor burned up in the atmosphere and sent down enough, like, air pressure or whatever the case may be to just wipe out an entire forest, basically. Not a chance. That's aliens.
That's just a bigger version of a crop circle right there.
Basically, ooh. Why don't we hear about crop circles anymore?
The media doesn't want us to hear about it. They don't want us to know the aliens are real.
Well, supposedly the government's supposed to come out and tell us all that information.
Something like that. Yeah. 95% of it's redacted still, but whatever.
Yeah. They're just like, every 5th line, you just see like gray person, long-fingered person, bug-eyed person. And it's like, that's all the information you get. And it's like, oh, fuck. We're in Arkansas or Russia. We already talked about this.
One of the ones I found though, I don't know if you guys stumbled upon this one too. The Granger Taylor. Have you ever heard that name or heard that story? So it's this guy in British Columbia, lived on this island right off British Columbia, Canada, whatever. And he was like a bigger guy, and he was kind of a soft-spoken guy, quiet. but he was very smart, very intelligent, very mechanically gifted. He dropped out of school and he started repairing old cars. He
is Gordon Fisherman, by the way.
Repaired an old train. He repaired an airplane. He was just mechanically gifted. He could do all sorts of things like this. So he had this gift, and he takes on this apprentice that dropped out of the 8th grade. This was back when that was still, you could just do that. I mean, whatever. But yeah, so he took on this apprentice, and he was pretty much with this apprentice for 3 years. Well, 2 weeks before Mr. Granger Taylor's disappearance, he's talking to his apprentice, and he's like, man, last night I had this very intense dream, this very vivid dream that aliens told me that they were going to come on this date, November 29th, in a couple weeks, and they were going to come get me. They were going to come pick me up because they needed the gifts I had. They were going to send me on this 42-month adventure across space. I was going to see and learn all sorts of things. And the apprentice like, whatever, shrugged it off. Hey, it's just a crazy dream. And Granger's, yeah, you know what, you're probably right. Well, it comes back the next day, and he said, I had the dream again. Like, I had a very similar dream, but they were telling me different things this time. But they kept saying November 29th, there's going to be a big storm. You need to drive to this location at this time, and we'll pick you up. So, he, again, for the next couple of days, he comes in and talks to his apprentice about the dreams he's having. So then November 29th rolls around, and it's, he comes to pick him up in the morning. And he's got this bright pink, they call it a Pepto-Bismol pink truck. So he comes in and picks up the apprentice. It's a beautiful day. The apprentice is like, well, looks like you're not getting picked up by aliens. There's no clouds in sight, no storm, no nothing. He's like, yeah, whatever. So, this
famous
the whole
last
day
words.
goes by. That's right. They do what they need to do. Granger goes and drops him off, gives him a hug, and says, I'll never see you again. Tonight's the night. They're coming. I can't tell you where. They told me not to tell anybody. They told me to be, so I wouldn't be followed. So he's like, it's a 42-month adventure across space that they're taking me on. But that the time I spend is going to be 42 months, but by the time I come back to Earth, about 150 years have passed. So I'm not going to see you again. This is goodbye. But whatever. So all of a sudden, Granger leaves, pulls out with his pink truck. That's the last this guy sees of him. And then that night, what happens? A big storm comes, big thunderstorm, lots of lightning, lots of clouds, lots of rain. And November 30th rolls around, and Granger Taylor is never heard from again. This, like I said, this occurred in British Columbia, Canada. So the Canadian Mounted Police, essentially their FBI, go to investigate this, and they find nothing. They find nothing, not a trace, not a clue, other than a note that Granger left that said, Mom, Dad, this is, I've got everything in order. It's my will and testament. These things go to you. Here are my earthly possessions. I don't need them anymore. Blah, blah, blah. So 6 years goes by. And hikers, I guess, found some sort of remnants of a vehicle or whatever. So the Canadian police, quote unquote FBI, come out and start looking around and
hey, there's that Pepto-Bismol card area.
So what they find, and they put it in the newspaper, is that it's a blue truck. But it's a blue truck. But what they found was they just found pieces, and all they said was they found like a part of a VIN number or a part of a registration or something like that tied it back to what they thought was Granger's registration of his truck. But he, like I said, he drove a Pepto-Bismol pink truck. And then they found 2 bone fragments. One was 6 inches long, and then one was a little shorter. And they couldn't tell fully, what bone they belonged to or whatever. And they didn't have DNA testing back then. I think it was in the 70s or something like that. Didn't have DNA testing to confirm that was him, but they just said, hey, you know what? It's him. It's him. It's him. It's him. But his apprentice is like, none of this is adding up. He drives a Pepto pink truck, not a blue truck. they said that the only reason they found fragments and pieces of the truck and 2 bone fragments was because they said there was an explosion. But again, they're like the area around it wasn't, it wasn't obliterated or anything like that. You know what I mean? So they think it was a controlled explosion or for whatever reason. Fast forward to today, where we do have DNA testing and things like that. Well, now apparently the bone fragments are missing, and the Canadian Mounted Police have no idea what happened to these pieces of evidence. No idea what's going on, and they're like, evidence changes hands. Even when it needs to be destroyed, they know it's destroyed. They know it's burned. They know it's whatever. But yeah, they have no idea what happened in the last 36 years, 40 years. So this apprentice is convinced that he's up there in space doing his 42-month quote unquote space adventure, and he'll be back at the year 3000. And yeah, so yeah, that was an interesting one. But yeah, you should look into more. I don't think I did that one as much justice, but
Granger Taylor.
The Fourth Kind. You got to watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of.
And that the one where they abduct like her kids, and she spends forever looking for them and tries to collect evidence and all that stuff.
They just go crazy. It's like in Alaska, Nome, Alaska.
Yeah. The thing I like to watch about alien abductions is if you've ever seen Ryan Gosling on SNL, that skit of being abducted. That one is fucking hilarious. Like, it's not him. It's I'm not gonna remember the girl's name. Something McKinnon. She steals that entire skit. You'll have to watch it. Look up Ryan Gosling alien abduction on SNL, and you will laugh your ass off. They're talking about, so there's 3 people that get abducted by aliens, 2 of which are talking about, oh, this was such a fantastic experience. They were so kind to us. I felt this warm light inside of me. And then the 3rd person's like, well, I didn't get that shit at all. They were watching me through a peephole and shit like this. I told them I had to go to the bathroom. They just pointed to the corner of the room and shit like that. Like you'll have to watch it. Like I promise you that one's gonna make you laugh. So let's wrap this up real quick with everybody's 3rd and final. I have a 3rd and final. I don't know if you guys have another one. The one I found, this one freaked me out a little bit. So this was back in 1957 in England. There was these 2 little girls who were killed in a car accident, and the family, like the parents were grieving like drastically. And this is the big theory, like behind the entire thing as this goes on. The dad is swearing up and down, like we're going to have more kids again. We're going to see them again. We're going to see them again. We're going to have daughters just like them again and everything. They end up having twin daughters. And before they had the twin daughters, they moved away from their original home in Hexham. At some point in their life, they moved back to the town that they originally lived in, where the original 2 daughters had passed and they died in the car accident. And the 2 daughters are recalling, like, they're asking for specific toys that the original daughters, and I hate calling them the original daughters, like, but the original daughters used to have, like, they were saying in vivid detail, like, oh, this is the school we used to go to and everything like that, and which the original daughters have gone to, and they haven't yet enrolled in that school yet. And then what else? There was one other thing. Yeah, so they were able to correctly name the dolls and stuffed animals that belonged to the former girls. Recurring nightmares about being hit by a car. And then because the original daughters, one I believe was like 5 and one was 10, while these ones were twins, one still relied heavily on the other as if it was an older sister. But after like the age 5 or 6, all of this kind of dissipated and went away. So the big speculation is that the parents were grieving so desperately that they made these associations in their head. But I don't know. Like, there's too many coincidences. Like, they could name the dolls. They were asking for specific toys. They kept having this recurring nightmare of being hit by a car. Like, both of them did as well. and they kept like there would be an idle car in front of them, and be like screaming like, "Oh, the car's coming our way! The car's coming our way!" and everything like that. I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily a reincarnation, but maybe like a possession. Not necessarily a bad possession by any means, but I think them spirits hung around a little bit.
That's it. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm gonna be thinking about this shit all night.
I think. I mean, the idea that spirits and whatnot are hanging around, I think that's plausible. Especially like you hear it a lot with like younger children. Like my niece, when she was 3, 4, whatever, used to say she had an imaginary friend that came up through the ground, and he was starting to scare her and things like that. And it's like, do you think that spirits and ghosts do hang around? Are they real? Is that a thing? And they prey on these innocent and naive, and then it dissipates after they turn 5 or 6 or 7 when they're told multiple times, "Hey, ghosts aren't real. Ghosts aren't real. This is your imagination. This whatever." So to the point where they finally convince themselves that that's the truth, and then at that point the spirits and ghosts don't mess with them anymore. You know what I mean? So is it like they were those old original sisters where they're coaching them? Hey, this is what this is. This is what this. Yeah.
Or is it like a Dracula situation where like he has to be invited in? So it's in a younger kid, they don't necessarily understand like that they can push that away to the point where it's like, oh, okay. But then once they hit that age where they comprehend, okay, like this isn't real. I don't want this here and everything. Like I can basically will it to not be here. Then the spirit's like, fuck it. All right, time for a new host. I mean, that's a possibility too. I don't know. Tommy, I'm in the same boat as you, man. I'm like, fuck, I got to be up early for a flight, man. I'm not going to be able to say like,
right?
This is going to keep me up at night.
It's going to be rough tomorrow. They'll be like, hey, what happened? They'll be like, I don't want to talk about it. It'd be like girls taking over other girls' bodies that were the same kids. It's just like, it's a big thing.
People ripping out of tents and shit like that.
Yeah, Russian hikers.
Or mountains.
Yeah. You don't even know. I might even take a day off, do some research tomorrow.
It was crazy to take a deep dive into all the unsolved mysteries the internet has to offer, because there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, I was like, all right. I think and that's the thing is, I spent probably like 2 hours trying to find the ones I wanted to look up before I dug deeper into them, and even then, I probably just scratched the surface. Google's like, oh, you want to see the real shit? Come to like page 10. Come to page 10. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Like, well, I've never been to page 10 before. What's there?
That's the guy with the tinfoil hat telling the truth that no one's listening to. That's
Nobody's
what's on page 10.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he doesn't understand how Google search engine works, so he could be on page 1, apparently. By the way, that's a pain in the dick. Trying to figure all that shit out. Like we've been adding to the website regularly, doing blog posts and everything like that. Shameless plug for the website, idiotsonamic.com. And it's like you have to use specific words. If you want to get recognized, it's like, oh, people search this most often. You have to use specific words, whether it's in your blog, whether it's even just on your website altogether, that people research the most in order to get higher on. And I'm just like, this seems like a game I don't feel like fucking playing, man. I don't know. But we have had some people, probably accidentally, from like Sweden or Norway or things like that have ended up on our website somehow, some way. I don't know what they were originally looking for, but they ended up there.
It's a porn site over there. So like, you're not supposed to put .com, you're supposed to put .de or something.
Yeah. Like, oh fuck, this is the English version of it.
When did these guys get naked?
Yeah. We'll have to put the link to our OnlyFans account on there, so that'll make them stay longer.
For all the listeners, I looked at their OnlyFans account. It's not that great.
Yeah, we just tickle buttholes on there the whole time.
There's only a unique crowd we're going after.
Yeah. Granted, it's a very niche demographic that we're aiming for, but I think we hit the mark. I gotta be honest.
That's why we charge $4.99 a subscription. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Like, hey, Listen, if it was fewer people, we'd probably be charging more to make the difference, but we got a lot of viewership, so $5.99 is all we need, baby. When you get a couple 100,000 of them bad boys rolling in, we're good to go.
I'm at $599. Smackaroonies. Oh, yeah.
See, I thought you were complimenting me. It turned out you, in fact,
were
not.
Yeah,
whatever. I appreciate you. Okay, you're not coming to the bachelor party anymore. You're out.
That's right. As long as I'm on that marathon episode.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm sure you'll see Tom at some point within the 24 hours. He'll be on for about 18. He'll be on more than Rod and I combined.
I'll be texting you guys. Hey, let me know when you guys need to take a piss break.
Yeah. And we just go, and here's Tommy. That's our segment for like the entire 24 hours. Like, all right, Tom, take it away. Yeah. Did either of you have another one?
I had the DB Cooper one.
That one
was kind of as I dived. I took about 7 hours of my 8-hour workday. No, just kidding. But I briefly buzzed it and just kind of looking at the theories of him jumping out the back of the plane, and they said he only had like a suit on, like a suit. Like a dress, white shirt, and a suit coat on. And they said the temperature at that time, he would have froze and wouldn't even be able to pull his, parachute. And then just kind of said, oh, well, he died, once he jumped out of the plane, and the impact and everything. But
I mean, if he's anything like the Malaysian flight, he can just hit the water at
right.
Mach 5, just disappear.
But all those theories are out there that, he landed somewhere. He knew his terrain,
What movie Without a Paddle, where they go looking for D.B. Cooper's treasure and shit like that?
It's like that one's a good one. That one's a classic.
Yeah.
Prison Break too. I don't know if you guys ever watched that TV show.
Prison Break?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah.
I
haven't.
The DB Cooper thing was brought up in Prison Break too after they escaped from the Mexican prison. Can't remember which one, but he talks about the DB Cooper. There's money hidden and blah blah blah.
I mean, maybe there is. There's been so many different things now too. Like that seems to be a big thing. There was a guy that came out on the internet and he would like hide in ciphers these clues to go look for some treasure that he had hidden. And this is recent. This has been like within the last year or two, this all unfolded. And I don't know if anybody's found it, if he's just trolling the entire internet. There's people out there hiking, looking for this shit. And maybe these stories are intertwined somehow, some way. All these unsolved mysteries that we're talking about end up like we're talking about unsolved mysteries from the 2019s. And it's like, oh, yeah, we went looking for this treasure and just never fucking came back or something like that. Maybe this is the situation he's setting up for.
Yeah. I feel like there's so much unknown, like stuff that if you could go back in time and be like, yeah, I just wish I was a fly on the wall just to see what exactly happened. The structures that are out there, like I had a chance to see Stonehenge 2 years ago. Ooh. And even like seeing that, it's like, well, how? Like back then, like how did you move something? I'm sure maybe they had some sort of contraption to say this is how we're going to build this, but the pyramids and everything else, they're just large structures of
Easter Island heads.
Oh yeah.
I wish I had. I don't believe I have the clip anymore. The last time we did this segment, we talked about the Plains of Laos, I think it was called, and there was these huge like ceramic pots. I mean, like as tall as a person, just big ceramic pots. And they're just scattered all throughout these plains, and there's no explanation behind them and stuff like that. It's like it's the same thing. At that time, how do you accomplish something like that? Why do you accomplish something like that? And I don't know. The pyramids, you talk about the pyramids.
The biggest
now they're
thing
talking about they talked about, so they've been scanning the pyramids, I guess, and apparently there's two like huge empty spaces in each of the pyramids that are like unaccounted for. They don't know what's there and everything like that. And they think it might be like some hidden rooms. Maybe there's treasure there. Maybe the fucking King Tut just popped out of this thing and was like, all right, I'm going to live here now. Nobody can bother me and shit like that. I have no idea.
The thing that in the pyramids, like I was listening to his I was Joe Rogan Experience. He had somebody on, but he talked about the pyramids and like how nobody talks about on the inside of the pyramids. There's like 6 levels, and they're divided by these huge marble slabs and pillars that were like. He's like, how did they get this up there? Like, there's no way, like that. There's 6 levels of it that. They didn't.
Yeah.
Like I said, if they built a ramp or something like that, the ramp would be like 1.5 miles long at the 45-degree angle it needed to be able to slide this up. And how come there's no evidence of that? And it's astounding. It's amazing. They had to have had help.
Well, what do you think the help was? Don't say it. You know. By the way, if you ever hang out in Tiffin, where I went to school, you might hear a townie talk about how there's black crystal shit on the top of the pyramids too, that they collect the lightning. I'm pretty sure that guy was on something, but you catch one of those and you get a whole different theory than what we come up with. And you do it. Yeah, the tinfoil hat guy. Yeah, yeah. He's, I've been there, man. I climbed on top of the pyramids, and I'm like, dude, I just want to eat my Wendy's. Like, I don't know why the fuck you decided to come up to me and start having this conversation. How we got here is beyond me, but sir, you have a nice day. Here's a couple dollars. Go get yourself another sandwich if you'd like, and leave me alone. Me and interactions with the natives of certain cities have never really gone in my favor, I don't think. Not that they've ever been bad, like I've never been mugged or anything like that, but I've had a lot of conversations or experiences with people, whether it's homeless people in San Francisco, the homeless guy I saw today here in New York, or the Tiffin Townie, as we would like to call them. I've seen all walks of life, I guess. I don't really know.
They provide you material.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Outside of Papa Steel, this is the material provider.
He's number one for sure.
Yeah, all the people that I've got to see. By the way, Tom, you bring in the lead-lined Chinese whiskey. Seth, have to try this. You'll have to try this stuff.
There's a catch. Are you ready for the catch?
Oh.
No, I'm not.
All right, I'm gonna bring maybe 3-4 cases of spotted cow, but if you want a spotted cow, you have to take a shot of the Chinese whiskey.
Yeah, you're a real piece of shit.
So drink up, boys.
Do you live up in Wisconsin?
I do. Yep.
Okay.
Far northwest.
It's a town you've never heard of. I promise you. Yeah. Save yourself the trouble of looking it up. It doesn't even show up on a map.
I'm the LA Bears fan.
Yeah, just in a sea of Packers fans, but they're all scrambling right now, and that's okay.
They're really upset, which is good. I'm happy.
So let's. Oh, Papa Steve, he caught you.
Hey, you're not part of that, Uncle Mike. You let me watch, Ninja Turtles when I come over to your house beforehand, and you can have a whole case of spotted cow to yourself.
So I'm terrible at holding on to secrets, and so Tom, I alluded to the fact that we have something special planned for you on the marathon episode, and one of the things we want to do is we're doing trivia questions for every guest. We're going to do 5 trivia questions. They're going to be random trivia questions, with the exception of yours, Tom, because they are going to be exclusively Ninja Turtle related. So you better brush up and you better get these right, because if you don't, the old man is going to catch wind of this and know that you are not, in fact, a diehard Ninja Turtles fan.
You know why I'm not a diehard, though? Because if somebody would have let me fucking watch it when I was a kid, I'd know the answers. But some people have... some uncles, you can't choose your uncles. You're
yeah, that's right.
Let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson to you and Michael's child.
Yeah. All right, watch whatever you want, dude. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I don't want to hear about this on a podcast for the next 5 years of my life.
Right.
So Seth, just to quickly fill you in, my father, uncle of the year, probably back in his prime as an uncle, to the point where he would not let Tommy, when he was over at our house, watch Ninja Turtles because fuck him, I guess. I don't really know. Pretty much. He's just like, yeah, this kid's gonna grow up to be an asshole. So
now would he let you watch it? Would he let you watch in the other room while Tommy's not allowed, but you're sitting in the, you know what I mean?
yeah. I was watching Ninja Turtles all the time growing up. I don't know about you, man.
You, Tommy.
You're too young, but you're too young back then. You might not have even been born.
Well, there was also a brief period where Tommy had the high pitched squeal of a Mack truck trying to stop at 80 miles an hour of a voice. He used to have on him and we've got the home videos. Maybe that's something that we can regurgitate on the internet for all to see during the marathon episode, if we can find some way somehow to get that up here.
Yeah, I feel like those videos are out there somewhere.
Oh, they are. Unfortunately, so here's the thing. You almost got lucky. There was a pipe that had leaked in my parents' basement. And it leaked right above where all the home videos were, right? So they were in this bin, and this was like full. But to no avail. Apparently, they still work, from my understanding. So you did not entirely get out of that one, unfortunately.
Who do you think started the leak? I think it was probably right after I visited.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up here for today. Catching the end of the Sox game, by the way. So we're up 9-3 on the Twins. You guys can suck it. Seth, you're not a baseball guy, right? Shut your fucking mouth.
Not really.
Not really a baseball guy. Not really a baseball guy. Anybody who said, yeah, I'm done with you. I'm done. You know what? You pissed me off. It's fine. What? He's a Cubs fan. There's the whole crosstown rivalry, Chicago teams there.
Why your family? Why Cubs, White Sox? Why the split?
So one side of mine and Mike's family is Cubs fans. So my mom's side of the family is Cubs fans, and then my dad's side of the family is Sox fans, and then I was just smart, back in the day and all that, and smart now. I mean, look at where we are. We're power rankings came in, put us in at number 3, I think. So,
yeah, that'll win you a World Series.
I mean, if the other two teams just disappear, and we'll talk about them on Unsolved Mysteries Part 3, and the only team in the top 3 that's left is the White Sox, then yeah, we'll be having a different conversation. So
we're still hungover from 2016. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you guys were also on like a 108-year drought. Was that what it was at the time when they won it? So. Now
Trevor Bauer had to fucking play with his drone and cut his finger. Fuck up his start.
What a dipshit! Look at him now. Now he's getting absolutely taunted by hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, you and we've had this discussion, I think, at length now. Trevor Bauer, is he good for the game or is he not good for the game? What do you think?
He's great for the game. You need that.
I want to watch.
I love this new generation of players.
From someone who's not a huge baseball fan, I tune in here and there, and I watched her October. I was watching that World Series. Fuck the Cubs. Anyway, if I had to choose, I'd be an Indians fan. But no, I like that. I mean, people like Trevor Bauer draw me in, who's just a kind of casual fan. Like he's not afraid to say what he's thinking. He's not afraid to say what he's feeling. He puts all this shit out there. I like that. I appreciate guys like that.
Yeah, you need
Tatis Jr., absolute electric show, like phenomenal to watch. Baez, fun to watch. I'm not a Cubs fan, but Javier Baez is emotional, man.
He can't bat for shit, but he can tag out anybody running the second.
I know. And, well, he can't hit for shit because he takes the biggest hacks I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, imagine fucking Paul Bunyan trying to chop down a tree in one swing, and that's what Javier Baez tries to accomplish when he swings at a baseball. And there's a lot of guys like that now. And I think the no-hitter record is going to be broken this year. I truly do. We're already at 3. We're less than 50 games in, so we're like a quarter of the season in, and we've already thrown 3. The record for one season is 8. So I think we're well on our way.
The other big names out there too that baseball-wise is the Reds. Amir Garrett, not a great pitcher, but he just like you want to like the other day when the Reds played the Cubs the last series they had. I was like, I want to watch this because some shit's gonna happen. And that's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch this guy get walk to first, get to first base, and like, hey, we're buddies. Like, you play for the other team, but hey, how's your family doing? Like, no, I want you to get to first base, and I want you talking shit. Like, hey, your pitcher sucks. Like, I'm gonna steal his base on you. Like, just all sorts of just talk shit. But they're too nice. I can't handle it.
It's tough. It's hard to do because you're so much more isolated, I think, in baseball to where it's like, yeah, you have your interactions at first and second, sure, but it's primarily, especially when you're playing the infield, like you're all by yourself. So when you get somebody to talk to, you're like, oh, fuck, cool, okay, I'll talk to this guy. It's like, I'm all alone.
Talk to the first base coach.
Yeah, I am excited. Like Tim Anderson for the Sox.
Yeah,
to watch.
Excited.
He's not a home run hitter, but when he hits one, he will fucking let you know. Like he will let you know that he just hit a home run.
Trotter on the bases.
Bat flipping all.
Do his little. The way he high fives the coaches too as he's coming around, I'm like, yeah, you're a cocky motherfucker, aren't you?
Every sport needs it.
I think my favorite part of this season so far is seeing Lindor lay an egg for the Mets.
My favorite part of this season is seeing the Cleveland Indians get no hit twice already. 2 of the 3 no hitters. I know. And sadly for you, by a team that Rod likes and by a team that I like. Mm-hmm. So you and Zach will be hearing from us for the foreseeable future for the entirety of this season, especially because the Sox are in first place in our division right now too. That is the White Sox, Tom, just to clarify for you.
Never heard of them. Is Chicago Cubs minor league team? That's cool.
We're still going to try to catch that Cincinnati game this year. We got to be able to do that.
That'll be fun.
We'll make it happen. So let's wrap it up there for tonight. I do, in fact, have to be up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to catch a 6 a.m. flight here out of Chicago or New York, which, by the way, I have a layover in Chicago. Fucking explain that one to me.
Mm-hmm. I've had multiple flights where I'm going from Chicago to like Newark and back to Ohio. I'm like,
yeah.
Wave to Columbus as you go by. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Give me one of those DB Cooper parachutes.
Let's get DB Cooper, this motherfucker. Just land it right on the ground. But we'll wrap it up there for today. I'm glad you guys could come on. We had some good conversation. This is going to be an ongoing thing for us. Probably every few months we will be doing an Unsolved Mysteries until we hit basically every unsolved mystery there is, or we dive deeper into the ones that we've already talked about, because you can go to 3 different websites and get 3 different theories based off of one mysterious event. And that might be just something that's going to roll those theories in even further. The nice thing is everyone will be filled in already on what the actual mystery is, so we can just explain multiple theories to it. But we'll wrap it up there for today. Marathon episode. Make sure you guys are tuning in July 10th. And if that's the only episode people listen to, honestly, okay. Because what we're trying to do is for a good cause, and we want to do something great for 3 different fantastic organizations and raise money for them. So we're going to start rolling out more and more advertising for that. So those who are listening, those who do see it, share it. Let's get as many eyes on this as we can, because that just means that's as much money as we could possibly raise for these people. Give a shout out. We didn't do our ad read for our CBD Brothers USA today, but shout out to them. They're actually now they're one of the wives, and I don't want to get it wrong because I can't remember offhand, is starting a photography business now. So we're going to be partnering with them. We're going to be having, you guys are probably tired of the same stale idiots on a mic cover art over and over again. So we're going to be partnering with them a little bit to get you guys some new fresh content there as well. So you can see our ugly mugs in HD, because I'm sure they got the good cameras, not the iPhones that we've been fucking using all this time. Shout out to Barley Hopsters. Barley Hopsters there in Delaware, Ohio. They're like a craft beer store. They've actually got a bar set up there as well. Our good friend Brian, who played rugby as well as owns Barley Hopsters there in Delaware, right on Sandusky and Williams, or Sandusky and 36, right in the heart of downtown there. We'll have to get him on the show again. Hopefully, we talked about trying to do an episode at the bar. I would love to try to do something to where we could set it up at the bar and do a show and have him on. I mean, maybe we just pull people off the streets. Hey, do you want to be on a live stream real quick? Come over here. Sign this waiver. Come over here. And see what sort of Delaware townies we might get it in. I don't know. I don't hang out there too often. I'll grab some stuff and then head on my way out. So I don't know what the bar scene is typically like, but we'll have to check that out. Make sure we can make that happen. Hopefully I can grab something better than a fucking Modelo in a brown bag like I had to today. But we'll leave it there for you guys. We'll send it off with our. We don't have Rod with his 4 beers this time, but we'll send it off with our, as always, to our family and friends and listeners. Cheers.
Cheers.